It's really not hard once you realize just how little they have to even offer you outside of physical, intimate encounters. The conversation won't go beyond basic talk. Don't expect her to have many hobbies or interests either, except for watching TV and social media. If you ask why are more and more men choosing to ignore women, it's because they're the biggest vice. When the subject of vices comes up, it's usually the big three: alcohol, gambling, and drugs. But women should be included as a fourth. I've known more men whose lives were ruined by a woman or women than those other three combined. Lay off pursuing women and focus on your career, building up your net worth, improving your mind and body, and supporting charitable activities you believe in. I assure you those will be far more fulfilling and profitable than the pursuit of getting laid. It is paradoxical that as soon as you show interest, your attractiveness takes a nosedive. It's like some kind of quantum mechanical system where your attractiveness is in a superpositional state of all possibilities, therefore possibly at her desired level or even higher, so she's intrigued until you express interest, which collapses the wave function and pins you down at a level of attractiveness that is universally less than she had hoped. So it makes no sense for a man to self-create his own happiness in life, then have a woman enter it and demand that he gives up what makes him happy to make her happy. And then her fickle feelings make her decide that she's not happy when he did exactly what she said. The vast majority of divorces happen because the woman's feelings change, and then she tosses the life plan that she said she wanted out the window, and destroys the love of the man and their children. The majority of the time, the woman's feelings changing hinged on her need to feel eternally pursued, to feel validated, which makes it impossible for them to remain happily caught in a marriage. The divorce data is statistical proof of this, and the stories of cheating and divorce that men are sharing are the anecdotal evidence that explains the cause and effect that explains the statistics. MGTOW is about men self-creating their own happiness through their own life plans, and never marriage empowering a woman to be able to destroy their happiness or their plan. For these men, it's not about emotion, it's about logic. In any case, something that puts lipstick and other rubbish on its face is something to ignore. These clowns run the show, or think they do anyway for now. They come fully dolled up as a paramedic to look busy helping you, while all they do is actually put themselves at the center of everything. They want attention. They crave it and they need it as a vampire needs blood to not shrivel up. Unlike a vampire, their lifespan is short, and their power over men is only a few short years if she relies on their looks. After her looks fade, which is usually past 25 already, all they have is the system to back them up and control men. I too have noticed how hostile women get when a man does something that doesn't involve boosting their ego. And these are the same women who for years have been telling us to leave them alone, to stop approaching women we don't know. It's not a stretch to assume that some genuinely meant that. However, it is also just as rational to conclude that a lot of them don't know what that meant, what it would look like once it finally happened. They didn't know that men finally leaving them alone didn't only mean that no one would be around to harass them. It also meant that no one would be around to put them on a pedestal. One of the greatest problems is Instagram and social networks, where women receive a lot of fictional attention from others. If you receive thousands of likes, it's just like cheating in real life. You feel you are too important and wanted, and this has also an impact on your close relations to underestimate the people around you as less important. And women are not to blame actually for that. The real root of this problem is caused by men who are addicted to watching all those girl pictures and liking them all the time. The truth is that the typical attractive modern woman of today is out of reach anyway. In every movie you see, regardless of how recent or how old it is, the lead character is either the most attractive woman or the most attractive man, who is incapable of wrongdoing and who works to uphold justice in society. The evil men and villains are always aged, gorgeous, scarred people who look awful. It should therefore come as no surprise that neither men nor women would want to consider hiring attractive women, because if a woman made a false complaint against a man, everyone would assume that she was telling the truth. Everyone can see a guy trying to flirt with a beautiful woman since, after all, that is how it has always been. The reality is that men just don't want gossip and overreactions from women. Women are also left out of the team's private and confidential meetings when important information is exchanged. For instance, if I had to share anything with a coworker in a cramped conference room alone and I had to go with someone, I'd prefer to pick a man, since I understand that inviting a woman into a confined space might seem odd to others, and possibly lead to allegations that could end my career. But the more attention you pay to a girl, the less interested they are in you. But I have found that the opposite is not always true. It's crazy that women would reject a philosophy that doesn't harm society in any way. The truth is that women only get upset if a top 20% man ignores her. If you're short, overweight, ugly, and look older like me, they don't care because they don't see guys like that. This isn't something new. What's wild is that if a guy is doing well, women will attach themselves, adding to his load, and if he strains, will say he must not have been a real man. But if he doesn't, will claim they were responsible for all his success. Even though if he didn't have it, they wouldn't have been interested. Sadly, then you get young men trying to put the cart in front of the horse, thinking they need women to be something. Then, when they right the ship, and if they buy back into the delusion, they're back to where they started. If you want to have a family, you need a woman. Just be the best version of yourself and manage the relationship in a contract prior to engaging in it right away. If you are investing in a relationship, have the exit clauses well defined. Like in the stock market, in a crash is better to sell than try to keep your stocks and wait to recover. Feel free to play your game instead of her game. Remember, for women, men are a means to get something, not an end. The way to live for a man is to avoid female toxicity, ingratitude, internal insecurity, and instability. Men are expendable machines for survival and well-being for women. In no case should every man accept such a role for himself, live under a constant penalty of charging and threatening his inner solidity. Do not spend your energy on something that by definition will be harmful to your well-being, and do not pay the price of a previously lost cause. Those of us who have been in relationships and have spent time understanding and being around women know that ignoring women tend to have the opposite effect as it would have on a man. When you ignore a woman, especially a woman who feels attracted to you, it will make her pursue you more. It will even make you more attractive in her mind because you are someone she desires and yet cannot get. That sort of becomes like a personal challenge for women who automatically feel more attracted to you if you choose to ignore their advances. Going back a few years, you would come across men being in the background and basically trying to protect themselves from women, and the risk of being with women and the associated consequences such as divorce or having their children and their life savings taken away. These are men who had gone their own way, and they were afraid to come out and declare it because they knew society would just alienate them, other men would laugh at them, and they would basically be in the crosshairs to be ridiculed for their ideology. And this is also true for the 10 or 20% of men that women usually want and go after. But things have changed over the years. Men are no longer shying away from telling the world that they've had enough, seen enough, and experienced enough to know that they just don't want to pursue women anymore. The truth is that women simply cannot tolerate the idea of a man living a happy, full life independent of them, and they will do everything in their power to destroy any man who goes down that path. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, we're looking forward to your support. So please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything all kings like yourself need to know.